of the rim. Garnett on the slam. Oh, here's a Curry way downtown. Oh, what a shot from Curry.
And we are moving on to the second round, which requires second round predictions. Matching the official score with what I said in the last video, I had the Thunder in 4, they won in 4. I had Mavs in 6, they won in 6. I had the Suns in 7, the Timberwolves swept them. I had the Nuggets in 5, they won in 5. I went Knicks in 6, Pacers in 6, Cavs in 7, and I had Boston as a sweep, but I did put the caveat if the Heat were to have a Black Magic game, I could see it going 5. It went 5. As you can tell with the Cavs and Magic call, I am dropping this video before they play their game 7. The start of the second round coinciding with the end of first round series just bugs me as a content creator. Still, just have to deal with it. And as you'll be able to tell from the recording, I did these predictions before game 1 of the Nuggets and Timberwolves. So anything said in this video was done before the start of that series. So let's just briefly review what happened in the previous ones and talk about how it might factor into what we see in the semifinals. Well, let's just start with the one I got not just wrong, but egregiously wrong. The Phoenix Suns did not do a single thing I said they were capable of. Meanwhile, the Wolves did everything I said they were capable of. I think I knew it was cooked when Ant was having his moments on top of guys around him shooting well, on top of Rudy Gobert contributing on both sides of the ball. That was the one thing they just really couldn't afford. This time when Rudy got dragged out of the paint, there just wasn't nearly the amount of advantages you'd hope for as a team with almost exclusively ball handling scorers and some shooters. This is also where I realized it was cooked. Not having a point guard in the playoffs is simply a no-go. I'm watching Book and Beal bring the ball up against full pressure, whilst also having to get the team into some set and get to their spots and try to score. Without a natural PG to set the table, this team looked completely out of whack trying to find openings against a defense completely unwilling to let up. Maybe it wouldn't have been such a problem if they had a decent big man rotation to compete with mini size. That just also wasn't a thing. Yeah, I had Suns in 7 and they weren't just swept, they were eviscerated. Seriously, I don't know if I've ever seen a young star snatch a chain off some vets the way Ant went about it, which is super compelling when you look at what they're up against. The Nuggets. I said Denver in 5. They won in 5. Bringing us to the highly anticipated semifinals rematch of last year's first round. You ask any Nuggets fan and they'll tell you this is the only team in the West who truly scares them because of how they competed last postseason. After a full year of gelling, relative health, and improvements from Ant, they feel confident and ready against the defending champs, as they should. This unit just shot 30% from 3, was pushed by the Lakers in each match, while overall just not seeming as fluid or dominant as you might have expected for the opening round. Match it with the Wolves team who not only shot well, but overall clicked in about every way they could? Yeah, let's just start with the obvious. Denver isn't beating this team 4 times chucking bricks from the perimeter and digging themselves out of holes every game. They're a lot more versatile on both ends, have got the size to compete, can switch, and I'll assume won't be getting back cut nonstop by Aaron Gordon. Jokic is gonna get his no matter what, it's just what he does. What do we get from Murray this time though? I feel like some of the clutch explosions he had may overshadow the rest of the games he looked a bit shaky. I also don't think he gets the same grace here, especially with the perimeter defense he'll see. To put it short, we wanted this rematch because both teams clearly have enough to take each other out, and that variability is what makes me believe we'll see 7 games. Is Ant just gonna get to steamroll everything while the guys around him hit shot after shot? Is Jokic going to effortlessly notch triple doubles while his guys come back to their season averages? Are KCP and Murray going to be shaky in light of some of the bruises we saw them taking in round 1? Is Jaden McDaniels going to be giving energy plays on offense while also shedding the water off defensively? Literally just toss a coin and choose. For my official prediction, I actually want to say the Wolves can and will do this. Had I just seen Denver look unstoppable against LA, my answer would be different, but no, they're certainly beatable, and the Wolves have got everything they need from top to bottom to get it done. Minnesota in 7. OKC went on to dispose of yet another Pelicans team without Zion in the postseason, while the Mavs ended yet another disappointing season for the Clippers featuring, you guessed it, another hampered Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, obviously a healthy Claw changes the series quite a bit. I think I'm just past the point of expecting him to ever be around at this time of year for any serious amount of time. It sets up a firecracker second round between the Mavs and Thunder, which I have exactly zero clue what to do with. Both teams are talented, have some star power, and could very realistically advance to the conference finals. I'm gonna have to split hairs here though. Luka put up eye-popping numbers while clearly being hobbled a bit, and his efficiency showed as much. The worst news, ironically, is Maxi Kleber going on to probably miss the rest of the playoffs. Might not seem like much unless you value his floor spacing as a big. That was pretty important to Dallas's lineup versatility, which they could no doubt use in the series where Chet Holmgren will be happy to be closer to the rim. Without the ability to reliably go small in certain moments, it's a big loss. Will Lively as a lob threat be enough to offset things? Will that even be as prevalent in this series with a better rim protector? Also consider OKC's top 2 scorers are not older guys who are extremely prone to dropping in the playoffs and important moments. Maybe as a team they won't be able to take both Luka and Kyrie out of the picture. SGA and Williams will put up a better fight on the other end though, in my opinion. Overall, I think the Thunder are a bit healthier, and as so will be able to exploit more advantages than the Clippers were able to. OKC in 6. New York and Philly nearly went the distance, with Embiid turning the ball over and getting hunted in PNR just enough for the Knicks to avoid having to go do or die over a 3-1 lead. If you watched, you probably noticed despite the series almost ending in 5, then nearly going 7, Philly definitely could have been in position to win it. Along the way, Mitch sustained an injury while Bogdanovic will miss the rest of the playoffs with surgery. Is it enough to stunt them against Indy? Not in my opinion. If you thought Brunson was going to be a regular season warrior, he just gave you a near 35-point double-double, showing he's still capable of picking apart defenses, getting the big and drop, manipulating PNR to get good looks off or get the defender in foul trouble, forcing traps, leaving easy buckets for his teammates. All things which lead me to believe he'll be a driving force in defeating the Indiana Pacers in 6. Philly had to pick their poison, and I expect nothing less from the Pacers defense, which will be even more susceptible to having to choose between slowing him down or getting assaulted from 3. I do think Indy will get by a couple of games just on the merits of the high points of their offense, but to get 4? You'd need a more efficient series from Halliburton, while Siakam would need to be as good as or even better than he was against the Bucks, which I suspect might be tougher against New York. Just from a personnel standpoint, the Knicks will be able to match up pretty nicely with both these guys defensively, helping lead to their first conference finals berth since the year 2000. I'm doing these predictions before I know who Boston will be playing at round 2, and I fully believe I've seen enough to say even without Porzingis, neither series should go further than 5 or 6, and hopefully it's just 5. I chose the Cavs to win in 7, and hopefully by the time this is up, they'll have done so. Donovan Mitchell is doing everything he can to avoid the first round exit, while Jared Allen sits with a rib injury, and I'm left wondering where the generational jump from Evan Mobley is at. Paolo Banchero is absolutely having his way, Franz has been an adequate number 2, and the shooting is doing just enough to get them by because, lo and behold, they're actually out shooting Cleveland from 3. Albeit by a hair, it is happening, and I do recall saying Orlando technically just had enough shooting to get them by in this particular series. Regardless, neither unit will be marching into Boston and beating them unless there's a couple more injuries. We're living in a world where Derek White just outscored Tatum for a series, along with some other recognizable names from other teams, while shooting a scorching 47% from 3. Drew Holiday definitely saw a reduction in efficiency, and they'll need him to not completely fall off a cliff for this series as Porzingis is out. Speaking of his absence, they'll be a bit easier to zone up against depending on certain lineups for now. I just don't think any of it will give these two teams enough of an edge to really push Boston, but especially not upset them. The firepower is missing, the consistency is missing, hell, the talent is missing. Only because Porzingis is out, I could see enough going wrong for either team to push at 6. They should be fine though. And that'll do it for my semifinals predictions. I assume this will be dropping right as the Cavs and Magic are starting Game 7, so if you'd like to watch that with us, click the link in the comment section and description for playback. We will be catching it. Paolo Banchero is putting on a masterclass. For the sake of the predictions, I'd like for the Cavs to win. I also would like to see the Magic win, because then I get to go to a game. Let me know what you think for the semifinals and any thoughts you had about the first round, while also hitting the like button and subscribing if you enjoyed, while hitting the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.